This is Arukh HaShulchan Yeridea, Siman Yud Ches, Sif Chav Dal to Chav Zayin. This is day 87 of the Supplemental Arukh HaShulchan Yomi series. Chav Dal. Rabbeinu Beis Yosef Sif Dal Heti Lashon Rambam Shekazabnu the Beis Yosef to copies the language of the Rambam concerning the nick and the points. Because of the dafka mehir kishbakan shchitas, it's only if you felt this the nick with the one cliff type edge and the other smooth edge before the shchita. Matzah shchita come shchita before shchita your knife was good. V'achar shchita matzah ba'begim mesuchsachs, and after shchita you found in it this this type of a nick from a barley shlo sisi el lochabat, and it said it's clear to me that I only extended the knife out, didn't break it back in, so therefore I didn't touch the point. Shchitas puzzle akalashano. So if you're not aware of it, you can't assume that you did the right thing. Anything which you're not conscious or aware of to know about, obviously you do it and you don't pay attention to it. Let's go see if you test. The Ramah writes as follows: was a matter that any time you have even a single point in your nick, it's also the kaima ration is like until it's at the head of the knife, mamish, literally. If you shechted with extending out. But I say this game mamish and literally the end of the knife, you shechted with bringing it back. And since we don't know what's considered to be head of the knife, we declare treif any such scenario. That's custom. So it's not because of a lack of being adept at this or knowledge, being conversant with this. What do you mean? You can tell, head of a knife, base of knife. And Rashi sort of dafka reisha mamish, according to Rashi, has to actually be at the head of the knife. But according to the Rif, it's not that the nick has to be at the head of the knife, but rather that the point of the nick has to be towards the head of the knife. Much should be head of the knife. Much should be on. Can you with two components? Share Rosha Sakin, which should be at the head of the knife. Shara Kasa, and that the point which you would have had towards the handle, Yashchizu, you have to grind it down, so it's smooth. You show Rosh, and you're only left with the point towards the head of the knife. Zev Adayev Shalitos, and this certainly you can make a mistake in performing this. We had to explain there's no difference whether the nick is at the head of the knife, ominat sad, in other words, at the edge or on the side of the blade. Of a rosh mishaminat sad shosim ominim. But if you have, I guess they used to adorn the, like even just writing the name of the brand into the side of the knife, to make marks there, shows you in which the crafts to make. And like you don't be concerned about that. That's shach. You should know Rashi with clout. They want to say that there's no Rashi in the Rashi at all. Perusha the misuch seches. In terms of interpreting the concept misuch seches, Rashi explains that the point which remains is like cliff-like, perpendicular. That's how you feel it, whether you're going out or coming back. And the river can see this point. But the river explains that it's bent, it's angled, and it rounds. And therefore, when you're going down, you're not going to feel it. Rashi also could see that it's angled down. It's only a problem with going one direction, not the other direction. of a game in the arcane, especially the Rambam Shabalacha. The Pshuta in this case, the Rambam's words will be explained in the simple sense. Shabalacha lo nargishkal. When you extend it out, you're not going to feel it at all. I don't know if it's exactly this picture, but something along these lines. Depending on the direction, you won't feel the nicks, right? Because this way, you're not going to feel the nicks. It's not getting impeded by nicks when they're in this direction, obviously, and the other direction you would. You don't have kamina kenem matriv mechol yarn. The court has to make an afkina because we are matriv no matter what. The bracket says here, I Jewish appreciate first came me Iran. I jump. Much Kosav other seems to shine the Ran. Much Kosav Bachshim. Okay, it's Eno Gavon because Sakin Yoda Rosh. I jump that if the point is not high, the rest of the knife, the Rosh could see. You have Shalom Markin. Can't say it. The Rosh could rush. Rashi's feel the Rosh is a Rashi because of first. Though it's Eno Kafuf correct. Eno Kafuf correct. Rashi writes a point which is not. Incline rips. I feel it does so even on the way down. Shassim Yoremen when the sim is coming off that cliff. Menichas Tokakama entering into the nick. Chav Vav. Isa Bagmar says Dami Lasas Aksher I feel Chatchila. This is if it's like similar to a sasa, and it's kosher even Lechatchila. Perusha means She'em Boshum Kima really has no nick. Akshena Chalak. It's just not smooth. Uchama Od. And it's very sharp. And maga also kemaga rosh hashibola shu mistabech etzba. So it's like a touching the head of a the head of a sheaf of grain. In other words, like kind of like little. It's very hard to see, even in this picture. There are little tiny bumps on the side of the sock. That's saw, and then he has here like they're micro imperfections, I guess you put it, at the top of the knife, at the blade on the edge of the knife, but nothing's going to get stuck. Right? So nothing's getting stuck anywhere. So it's not completely smooth. But it's chad mode. It's very sharp. It's like touching the head of the stalk of grain. So where it gets cut up on the finger. Since there's no nick, with this knife. Not to check with this. The fish and became dover. Again, we're not conversing to a depth of this. The Bama seem not to say dover because for truth we might permit this. People start saying, okay, small fine nicks. So not just these micro imperfections. Who got be mad to those as well. It's a slippery slope. If you have to warn the shach, if this knife is not completely smooth, but if after shita, it's like the sasa has little imperfections. By the ancient chashash, there's no concern for this. Certainly, after you shechted. Upon you show the yesh lachshir can be machshir for sure. For roy logo bar, but you should rebuke the shochet. Chain sakin chavzayin. But chain sakin should be so they have a knife which has a smooth edge, rock inu chad, but it's not sharp. Ovin bogam, which doesn't have any flaws, any of these nicks. Shechtin b'ek shechtin. I feel herich was man merubish shchita, so it takes a long time to shech because the knife is dull. It's kshera. Chazal saying, including Daflan base, I show him second row some chefs with a bad knife. I feel like if it's going back and forth the entire day. Shchitas kosher came in the cold as man of Molichum Levi. So the whole time it's going back and forth, shchita, so he didn't interrupt in the shchita. But you know the come on, Simchav is by the shocher besagish enuchad. If somebody is shechting with a dull knife, then the sakir b'milut akron shows Simon Rishon, and then he delayed in the minority of the first simon he's shechting with the trick of the esophagus. Kashir shia, the amount of time it takes, which is called shihia, even though you're right, shechting most of simon, it's possible. But the reason to nechta rova simon, the reason is when most of the simon, the trachea esophagus is cut, having a kula, and it's like it's completely cut. Mashashah b'miut hanishar, and that which you're being show it in doing the second half, it's not that you're delayed, you're not doing anything, you're cutting. You're cutting very slowly. I'm not sure how this works, but then you meant having a chaytach biyado raglo. It's like cutting with your hand or with your leg. If it's not good, which is fasting halacha, which I guess we'll get to Zim Chav Gimel. So therefore, it's an interruption of the shechita. According to this, you don't find this halacha rak be'of lo be'behema, because you won't. You're not allowed to be shoha in the miut siman acharon. That was siman rishon, in the minority, the minority which left you of the first siman, and if in a cow, a large animal, or any large animal, you have to check both simanim. That means that you pass the shechita. So what do you mean go do kol hayom? It would only be relevant by a bird, which only requires one siman. A bird, you can it's kosher with one siman. We pass a delay in the last minority of the siman, no matter what. So he says that's why shir mamish we actually delay. In other words, you stop the shechita. Lo b'shoy b'schak and run now we shech with a bad knife. Sheins a shir mamish. That's not true shia. Sometimes eaten by an animal as opposed to a bird. You when you two simanim are adjacent to each other. You moved them so they're in line. Chataimu, it's one rationale. Because all this is only after the fact. You shouldn't use the dull knife even for a bird. Because even by a bird, you have to check both the trachea and the esophagus preferably. The language of Gemara is clear that this is the case. The rak of the Evan mutter, it's only mutter after the fact if you did it. So this thing which he's saying, that's pretty important when we get there.